Hello, everyone. I'm Markia McCarty, a host and producer with Hunters Entertainment. And today we are sitting with Doug Levandowski, who is a co designer of the Powered by Kids on Bikes game system. Doug, thank you so much for joining us today.
Markia, thanks so much for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Excellent. Oh, and for anybody who might be, that you're like, kids on bikes, weren't we? I thought we were doing kids on brooms or and insert kids on here. Yes. Can you tell us the distinction between those, please, Doug?
Sure. So we have three games that I've worked on that use the Powered by Kids on Bike system, and one more that came out from another set of designers. So the original was Kids on Bikes. That's a game that John Gilmore and I put together. Uh, and we liked the system so much that we decided to do Teens in Space, which was our next game with it, using the same system, but then modifying it to be more space opera and less, small town nostalgia fest. And then just this year, Kids on Brooms came out, which is a game that John and I worked on with Spencer Stark, who also did Icarus, Alice is Missing. I think those are his two big ones. Everything he touches is gold, though. So if you see his name on something, get it. And also Junior Braves of the Apocalypse, which is based on a graphic novel series using the Kids on Bikes engine powered by Kids on Bikes.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
How about, can you tell us a bit more about Kids on Brooms then?
Yeah,
'Cause, yes, it seems like, well, because that came out this year, people would be interested in seeing gameplay on that and would love to learn more about that from one of the designers.
absolutely. So Kids on Brooms is set in a magical school. As with all of the Kids on blank games, you create your world at the beginning of your first session. And so it can be whatever you want it to be. If you want to do, uh, a sort of archaic wizarding school where everyone wears robes, you can do that. If you want to do a modern wizarding school hidden right in the middle of a densely packed city, you can do that. Um, and then you and your other players flesh out the world with the help of the GM and some questions that we provided for you. And then you have your setting for your game, and you play it using six stats: um, fight, flight, brains, brawn, charm, and grit. And each of those stats will have a polyhedral die associated with it, from a D20, which is going to be your I'm really excellent at this stat, to a D4, which is your you probably shouldn't ask me to lift things stat. So
All right. So speaking of which, how about telling us some more about your ideas that came out with Kids on Brooms, like the source that came from. Like for me personally, I love Magic Girl anime. So
Mhm,
having Kids on Brooms is well, that and of course with Harry Potter
mhm.
and such, that is where I come from with it. So tell us about your process.
Yeah, so this one came up in a really funny way. We were talking with Ivan from Hunters and Scott from Renegade, and having a sort of status meeting about Teens in Space as we were wrapping that up. And Scott said, "So, what's your next Kids on or Teens in game?" We said, "Well, we don't know yet. We have a running list of stuff, and when we wrap this up, we'll go and we'll see what we're most interested in, brainstorm some more, and come back." He said, and that's what I love about this. Like, the title is just so evocative. You could do anything. Like, you could do Kids on Brooms, and we're like, yeah, that's the one we're doing. He was like, no, 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 you don't have to do that. Like, just because I'm the president of one of the companies, like, you don't have to. We're like, no, that's amazing. We're doing that. Um, and so that was very much like it came right out of the title. And then as we had started working on it, just me and John, um, we got this message on Twitter from this guy, Spencer, who said, "Hey, I did this really fun hack of your game. I'd love to show it to you and talk to you about it. I set it in a magical school, did like a kids on brooms thing." We were like, "Okay, cool." So we wrote him back and said, "Hey, we're working on this. We'd love to like hear your ideas and possibly have you work with us on it," which like we very much meant as a we'd like you to work with us on this. He, being more like in the LA culture, was like, I got to put a pitch together. Um, and so he put together this amazing pitch about this. And I mean, really, really wowed us. And it has been just an absolute dream to work with him.
I love it when designers gas up other designers.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Oh,
beautiful. It warms my heart.
yeah.
So do you have any advice for our game masters out there that will be running Kids on Brooms?
Yeah. So one of the things that we really focus on in the Powered by Kids on Bike system is to let the players take the lead on a lot of things, even on stuff where it may seem like in a lot of traditional RPGs, I, the GM, would decide what happens when you walk into this dark room. Asking them, like, you open the door and you find something that terrifies you. What is it? Sort of tapping into the stories that they want to tell that way and getting into their like just immediate snap responses can be a really cool way to immerse them in the world.
Oh, excellent. Okay, and how about for our players? Because some players they tend to like it when a GM is just like,
Mhm.
"Here's everything that happens. Now react to it."
Right.
What would you say for our players that might be more in that camp to try a game that's powered by Kids on Bikes, where it's like, "No, you're going to take the reins of the narration as well."
Yeah. So for that, I would say, because that very much used to be the way that I played until we started working on Kids on Bikes and I started playtesting it and found I really love being a player and getting that amount of input. So I would say for players, the whole point is that you're trying to tell a really cool, really exciting story. And so if you're asked for input, what's the coolest, most exciting thing you can think of to happen right now? Even if it's going to be bad for your character, it's going to be great for your story.
See, that's the thing. And I love that you brought that up, Doug, with if it's bad for your character, but great for the story. That's one of the reasons why I really love the system that y'all have come up with, because just like in life, there is failures that happen, but it's like falling forward as opposed to just cutting everything off. And the system is really good with strengthening those muscles.
Thank you. Yeah, that was something we worked in with adversity tokens, right? That anytime you fail a roll, you get this token that can be used either to activate some of your strengths or to add to rolls later on and help you when you need it, right? That in a lot of these stories we love to hear, it's the character who like fails, 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 and then when it really counts, they're able to get in there. So
Absolutely, that underdog.
yeah,
We love that underdog, don't
right.
we? Oh, so for with the system, it seems like, the only limit is really your imagination. Are there some things that you can tell us about the system to really whet people's appetite towards going ahead and doing and playing this on their own?
Yeah, definitely. The most exciting part, which we've already talked about, is that collaborative part for me. What I really love about playing in these settings, though, is it's like our world, but just turned a little bit. Um, so for Kids on Brooms, it's the stories that we're telling most of the time are really about the characters, not about the magic. And I think that's one of the things that gets me excited about role playing games when it's not about, um, you know, your longsword is plus how many. It's that your character is living in this world where this is a thing that happens and it's really about them and it's about you and it's about your choices and how they matter. And so I think knowing that there are no wrong choices as long as everybody at the table is having fun and everybody's buying into the kind of story that you're telling, there's no wrong way to do it. And I think embracing that really opens up and really excites me personally about playing games that are powered by Kids on Bikes or games like this, like Fiasco or Icarus or, I mean, a lot of modern RPGs.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, Doug, thank you so much for doing this interview with us of talking about Kids on Brooms and then also, of course, powered by Kids on Bikes game system. Is there
Sure.
anything else that you would like for our viewers to know before we head off?
Yes, I would say one important thing is if there is something you want to change or tweak in the game, go for it. One of the rules in the rule book is to change stuff if you think it would make it more fun otherwise. And we really encourage you to embrace that.
Oh, heck yeah. And then maybe reach out to you on Twitter.
Oh, for
Maybe
sure.
there's another Spencer out there just waiting to work with you.
I know that there are a bunch of really talented people um, who have amazing ideas and should absolutely run with them and let us know and talk to us, because we always love hearing what people are talking about. The Facebook group for Kids on Bikes is really active, and one of my happy corners of the internet. So yeah, Spencer, you're one of a kind though if you're watching this. So
I love it so much, Doug. Thank you so much for joining us. Doug Levandowski, the co-designer of the Powered by Kids on Bikes game system. Thank you for
yes,
joining us.
so
Yeah,
thanks for
so
talking.
yeah, it sounds like there is an amazing community just waiting for
Mhm.
our viewers to just jump into. You got the Kids on Bikes Facebook group.
Yep.
Obviously, you have everything with Hunters Entertainment. We have a
Mhm.
Discord, and now we have a Twitch channel, and we have programming on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and can practically guarantee that you will be able to see the system in effect there. So we hope to see you there. Thank you so much. I'm Markia McCarty, and this has been Hunters Entertainment with Designers.